man said to kill the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for our legal to drink. I care what a broke nigga think.
Just like the pack of Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too short, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dallas rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody crying together, we all came from hunger.
I can feel it. That's right, y'all. Oh. You were sitting down on Netflix. You were like, man, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen these youngsters fight against the forces of evil. That's right. We're talking about Stranger Things, NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. Hit that like right now. Share this right now. Subscribe right now, because we're going to have a good time. But we ain't by ourselves. No. All right. It's not just you, your mama, and your cousin too watching this, but we are joined right over here. All right. This gentleman, he has thoughts about Stranger Things that I will bring up later. But right now, all you need to know is that this guy's a podcasting giant, all right? A writer du jour, if you will. Don't even know what that means. Jay Sherer of the Story Geeks, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? I'll take writer du jour. I don't know what it means either, but
I don't know. I just hey, it means something.
It means something.
So we're talking about Stranger Things 4, Stranger Things Season 4, and straight up, full spoilers, if you haven't seen the rest of Part 2 of Season 4, all of it, all right? If you haven't seen it, then get out of here, or unless you just don't care, like, I'll just watch it whenever, but I just want to hang out with you, man. And I'm like, all right, cool, it's fine with me. So I'm going to open up the floor to general things, all right? Yes. Because we know, at least from what I've read, there's one more season after this.
That's right. Season 5.
Now, they did say that doesn't rule out other Stranger Things universe stuff.
Yeah.
But these kids' stories are done in season 5. At least that's what we've been told. Jay, if you would, break down how you felt after the final frame of season 4 ended.
Oh, dude, after the final frame, look, I laughed, I cried, I felt excited. I was so thrilled with the ending of season 4 that I was just like, look, I'll tell you this. Mm-hmm. It used to be that Daredevil from Netflix was my favorite show of all time. That used to be my favorite show of all time. All right. And Stranger Things was like in the top 5, but it was probably like at 4 or 5.
Okay.
But after this last season, as long as they don't screw it up in season 5, it's my number 1 show of all time. Yeah, I know. Oh,
well,
so it's
Game
my
of
favorite.
Thrones
man.
Fans might be in the back, like, just wait. No.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. How did you feel about it? Yeah, how did you feel about it?
Like, just wait, buddy. Just wait. All right. So for me, they're playing the music. We see, the distance and everything, and the storms coming up. I'm just like, yo, the Duffer Brothers don't have to do anything else ever. And I'll be like, yo, those my guys right there.
That's right.
They made Stranger Things.
That's right.
It was so good.
So good.
Especially around handling a cast of like 12 people or something like that. There's a lot of people in this show. And they balance them. Everybody gets their moment to shine. Everybody gets their story. That actually matters. It's not like some random side quest that you're like, why are we here? Like, everyone has something to do, and it's important to the story. And well shot, well acted, even though some people, they get on my nerves, but that's they're acting so well, they get on my nerves. But this show comes through in an awesome way. So I want to give a shout out to Jenna James for coming through. Anyone else who's up in here in the chat early, shouts out to y'all. Go to hit that like, share this, tell people, come on in. We talk about Stranger Things. Jenna says, the fact that Eddie said, this is for Chrissy just before starting his guitar solo is really heartbreaking. Yeah, dude. Man, the funny thing is, since we saw some stuff, I know you have to have trailers. But in the trailer, I was like, why would anyone be up there? That's dumb. Then, like, in whatever episode, I think in part 1, when they walk past the guitar, I'm like, it's a distraction. I was like, see, so that's the only thing. It's like, I already knew. I was like, it's going to be a diversion for something. Now, of course, I mean, hey, you got to make a trailer. You got to put something in there. But at first I was like, why is he on the top? Who would do that?
You're right.
But, you know, this is for Chrissy, man. It's
well, they have so many, like, they have so many out of this world moments where you're like, so for example, let's even go back a second to season 3. And they're in they're like trying to fight off the mind flare. They're in like the most stressful period of all time. It's at the climax of the season. And they're like, we got to stop and sing Never Ending Story right now. And now, granted, that's ridiculous. Dusty but Bun. You just, exactly. Dusty Bun and Susie Poo have to sing us a song.
Susie came through this season too.
She did. And you know, like it's so entertaining that you don't care that it's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason that it happens. It moves the character development forward. It's completely ludicrous, but you're like, I'm so here for it because it makes me feel something.
Yeah. And the part with Susie, it's ridiculous for us, the viewer. But for Susie, she doesn't know the stakes. She has no idea. She's like, so if you want me to do this, sing the song that we always sing and prove that you love me or whatever. And he's like, baby, this is like really, really not the time. Man. Yeah. Really, really important, baby.
Exactly.
Like, really important. Just really got to do things. So this season is awesome. And going off of the statement of Stranger Things is X-Men from Jason Reeves last year. Jenna James says Feige needs to hit up Duffer Brothers to do X-Men or F4 Secret Invasion Wars or Secret Invasion or Secret Wars. I wouldn't be against that because this is, I mean, Jason broke it down last year, but yes, this is, you can look at this as X-Men in a very, like slanted way where, I mean, this whole team comes together and this is how you can do kind of like sci-fi, supernatural, horror kind of thing where everyone's competent, but things still happen that are bad. I don't think there was a decision that was made in here that was like, oh, that's so stupid, So this show just handles people where they're smart and they're able to, handle themselves, but then bad things still happen outside of their control and they have to kind of like work into it. It's just simply awesome. So with that said, Lady Lisa said, are you guys going to talk about how these are some of the most negligent at best parents? All right, so we're going to talk about the parents. But since we do get a look at fatherhood, we usually go through all the characters, or at least the main characters. I wanted to talk about Papa for a second, because Papa is kind of an ignition point for our two main, well, maybe not main characters, but almost main characters, maybe. And I want to start from his end, where he's looking at Elle and he's kind of like, you know, everything was for you and blah, blah, blah. And this and the third. And, you know, when she's calling him a monster, he's actually crying. Do you feel that in his own weird, twisted way, he was really trying to show his love or affection for any of these children, not just Elle, any of them?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, but you kidnapped these kids. I'm like, but you kidnapped them, dog. But then it's like, it also seemed like a serious moment. So,
well, here's the thing.
Maybe, or I've heard this statement, you know, like dad was the best dad he knew how to be. So I've heard that statement before. So maybe, I mean, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, because I think that the show handles it perfectly. Because if you were to look at it, and this is something that you brought up just a second ago, if you look at it from the character's point of view, everything makes sense. It makes sense for Susie to ask Dustin to sing, right? It makes sense for Eddie to be like, if I'm going to do a distraction, what kind of distraction would I do? It makes sense for Brenner to say, well, if I don't figure this out, the Russians figure it out. If I don't figure this out, the Upside Down is going to invade our world. Like, he's thinking about something. He's playing chess with a set of characters, and he uses the kids as chess pieces. Now, is that acceptable? No. But can you get behind the way that he sees it? You're like, wait a minute. What is he supposed to do? Like, what if he didn't do anything? Right? Like, so, and I think what he did was, I think that what his thing was, it's kind of like Tiger Woods' dad, right? Like, you're going to be the best. And in order for you to be the best, you've got to go through some things. And I'm not going to pull those things back. I'm not going to pull that back. You're going to go through these things. Now, is that the best form of parenting? Maybe not, but that form of parenting can get certain results. Now, it can also traumatize kids, right? Yes. So that's the problem, is that I think that, like, if you look at it through his perspective, he's just a guy who, let's face it, it doesn't seem like he was a real father in any other way. He's a scientist who was running MK Ultra. MK Ultra being a real thing that the CIA actually did to people. So I think that he's just a guy that says, I have a means to an end, and I love these kids, but these kids are our only chance of survival. And so I have to treat them this way. It's not forgivable. So when the way that they handle it in the show, where she's like, I'm not going to tell you that I understand, because I do not understand.
Like, I'm not going to give you that moment.
Exactly. Like, that's perfect. So and the fact that they even had him shed some tears is also perfect, because that's just who he is. So he doesn't deserve to be understood. He deserves what he gets, right? Yeah. Like, but
I like how she held that back and just said goodbye, and that was it.
It was the best.
That was a good way, because we see him cry. We see him essentially sacrifice himself for her.
Yep.
And then say, like, I did it all for you. But you're like, yeah, but you ran this weird underground. Like,
right. Exactly.
But you also see what he did when those other kids, like, kind of ganged up on her and beat her up. So, you know, it's tough.
Yeah.
But I like how they handled that tough moment.
Yes.
With him, and allowed it to kind of just exist.
Yep.
Because that's some, you know, top-notch character work. Also, I gotta give it to the scene of the town hall meeting.
Oh yeah.
Because when I was watching this, I was like, this is how people get whipped up into a frenzy.
Oh,
I was like, this is how people get whipped up.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of fear out there. You have no idea what's going on. These strange deaths. And this has been building up because people have been dying since season 1. So, and this is like 4 years after the first. I'm trying to remember because I can't remember all the dates. I think this is 4 years outside of the first season. Because I think
season 2
and 3 were only 6 months apart. because season 2 was like in the winter, and season 3 was like right before summer break or something like that.
Yeah.
So in the last, say, 5 years, there's been tons of weirdness all through
it's
this.
not good. Right.
People disappearing, folks dying. So people are already kind of in a heightened state. And now here come these deaths again, these weird deaths and stuff's going on. And of course, the D&D stuff, which I'm glad they brought that in. That was interesting because I was like, yeah, I remember when like D&D was like devil worship and everything and all that. I remember that.
Yeah.
So like them bringing that in, people are scared. It's something that could be supernatural. Well, it actually is supernatural, but they don't know. They're just kind of guessing right now.
Right.
It could be supernatural. It's nothing that you can kind of like file away in a box. So
Right.
now it's fear time. So
Yep.
now you get someone charismatic to come up. And
Yep.
of course, we know the parallel they're making, but they make a much better parallel than any other media that has done it since that time. You know what I'm saying? So when they say that time, like guy comes in, he's very charismatic.
Yep.
And from his perspective, from Jason's perspective, I get it. She was last seen at this guy's house.
Yeah.
She ended up very weird, disfigured, dead or whatever. The whole nation is telling us that what they're doing is Satan worship. All right. And she died in a way that definitely looks like some kind of satanic stuff. So from his mindset, all of this stuff connects.
Yes.
All of this stuff connects. And
yes.
So it's, you look at him like, yo, this is how mob justice gets whipped into a frenzy. But then looking at his perspective, Chrissy's gone, and then he saw, was that Patrick? Whatever the other guy's name.
Yeah.
Died.
His basketball buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you see that, that's a whole nother level. So how do you feel about the whole characterization around, of course, and the parents that are in there like, where are our kids at?
Yeah.
But how do you see that scene?
Well, it's interesting because the first thing is as it pertains to the parents. I remember being a kid in the 80s, and because I was born in 81, right? So I'm like a little bit younger than these kids in this show. And we used to go around the neighborhood way more often. Like the kids these days, like, you know, I live in a pretty nice neighborhood. There's like kids running around and stuff like that. But the neighborhood I used to live in, there was kids running around, but there were also like, there's a meth head down the street. You know what I mean? Like it's like, it's not good. It was not a bad neighborhood, but at the same time, it was like, you never know. And like the ubiquitous nature of all these stories that we have out there about like kids are in danger. It's a different time than it was back then. So
I understand. I get you.
Yeah. But I will say this though. I will say that it doesn't, I will say that if you were to break this down in terms of like, there's a few points of logic, despite the fact that this is my favorite show of all time. There's a few points of logic where you can say, that seems a little strange that like the parents would just let the kids get away. It seems a little strange that there's murderers going on of the same age as the kids that my kids are, and you're just going to let them go like hang out and then be in the neighborhood. Yeah, that's a problem. But at the same time, I think
what Lisa's talking about.
Yeah, totally.
Like, they would not have been out of my sight.
exactly. And I totally get that. I think that makes a lot of sense. And you don't have a story if the kids aren't able to be a little bit more free. So I get it. But like any story, there has to be some kind of like thing that's unusual, or else if we're just telling stories about how every day works, it gets pretty boring, right? So that is, I'll acknowledge that's a thing. But to your point, the first time we ever see this kid, Jason, he's doing the pep rally, and he's raising everybody up, and he's talking about how we're gonna come back. And the reason I scored these points was because I'm doing it for the kids, you know, and like I'm doing it for the people who in the Starcourt Mall from last year. So we already know he's a charismatic kid. And so for him to go in front of everybody and I think actually, again, these are reactions that I feel like, notice that they don't like get riled up where they're like, everyone runs out of the gym, but they do get riled up in that this guy has a point, and maybe the cops are incompetent and we need to do something different. Right. And so they do.
The cops too.
yeah. And so they do that. And I think that's like, again, it's really well done because it's not like everyone is like, yeah, crazy. There's demons out there. Let's go get them. But everyone is kind of like, this kid's got a point. Nothing's being solved. Maybe we should patrol ourselves a little bit here too. And so, so I think it works from both sides because it's not, again, every single character works in a way that you go, that character, I can see what they're thinking. I can kind of see why they would do that.
Yeah. And to the idea of the cops, you see that honestly, it's okay. It's not their fault. It's similar to in Man of Steel, guys, I'm just making this for a point to connect how things can go bad. I don't want to argue about Man of Steel. All right. So people are like, oh, well, Superman did so much destruction. I'm like, well, at this moment, he's not Superman. He just learned how to fly like yesterday, and aliens showed up talking about they want to kill everybody. Imagine this is your first day on the job, right? Like you just got hired. The copy machine go bad. The coffee machine is leaking. The computer is on the fritz. The email server's down. Like everything goes wrong, and you're just like, that's essentially what Superman was trying to do. Now connect that to these cops. Okay, it seems like, for all intents and purposes, as much as we know, your boy Hopper's gone. He's dead. Yeah. He died somehow. Maybe he died in Starcourt Mall. He's dead. They weren't like the top cops. All right? They weren't like the top cops in the first place. so they're just kind of like stepping up because it's kind of like a wartime promotion. So they're stepping up. Hey, Hopper's gone. So now I'm the chief and you're the I don't know, the lieutenant. I don't know the levels, general, lieutenant, something, whatever. All right. Yep. That's what he is. All right. So and now all of a sudden, dead bodies are just dropping, and it's weird dead bodies. It's not like, hey, someone got stabbed. We can contextualize that. No, you walk in and their arms are disfigured and their face is disfigured. This is some weird stuff. And you got these kids called the Hellfire Club. It's not the best name when people start dying, but like if they were called like the Cookie Baking Club, like nobody would have did. Like, but so they, you got the Hellfire Club. You got this weird, deformed, kind of like ritualistic killing looking thing. You're not ready for that. Right. And honestly, how do you get ready for that? Unless you like fully believe in like the supernatural. Like, you're not ready for that. And now like random people, there's no connection to these people. There's nothing. So you're just like, all right, guys, look, but we need y'all to stay calm, which is true. We do need y'all to stay calm because if y'all go crazy, then we can't do what we are trying to do with trying to track something or figure something out. But Jason's right. Y'all don't know, but the same thing is like, you don't know either. Like,
yes.
I mean, well, in his perspective, he kind of knows more than what they do because he saw his girlfriend's body and he saw it happen to, I think his name is Patrick, but his basketball teammate. He saw it happen to him. So that's life-changing. And of course, now that amps him up. And we see him make a descent because the scene again in the gun store.
Yes. Kids going crazy. Yes.
Well,
and here's the thing too.
Because he was pointing the gun. Okay, guys, I don't know if you own guns or not. If you do, you don't. Look, this ain't the place for it. I know where we're at in our culture right now. I'm just saying, if you own a gun, if you go to a gun store, you're not supposed to point a gun at someone. Even if it's unloaded, it's not good. But notice he leans over and points the gun at her.
Exactly.
And I was like, whoa. Like I was watching and I was like, oh.
You can't do that. Yeah, no.
You can't do that. Like you can't do that in the store. You're always supposed to point it away, even though, you do the safety check, you open it, it's not nothing in there, but still, it's just not good practice.
That's right.
And then the way he grabbed the barrel of the shotgun, I was just like,
this kid's crazy. Yeah, he's gone. Yeah. Well, too, because think about it this way too. Okay, you're a cop in a small town. I mean, if you rewind to season 1 when Hopper was talking to the dispatcher or the administrative assistant,
Oh yeah.
He would always be like, nothing happens in this town. Is what like nothing ever happens in this town, right? So at least not for 30 years because of Victor Creel's stuff. So we can go back to that stuff. But like, so it's been 30 years. Yeah.
30 years is a pretty long time.
So I'm a cop in a small town where nothing goes down that's super crazy. We had a fire last year at the mall. But if I'm rationally thinking through this, I'm going, okay, there's a Hellfire Club. There's rumors that they're satanic. These bodies are showing up all like weird. And I've got a kid named Eddie Munson who's a part of this club who's been in school doing weird stuff that I don't understand. So if I'm not going to go straight to supernatural, I understand why Jason does because he sees it happen, right? But for the cops, it's like, I'm not going to go supernatural here. It's probably some weirdo. And it's probably this Eddie guy. So even though that they're fairly incompetent, they are doing the thing that they think that they should do, which is get to Eddie. And they can't find Eddie.
Find Eddie, but Eddie's doing a great job of hiding himself. I would say, Eddie, this season, Eddie, you've done a good job of staying on the line.
That's right. Yeah, Eddie's low key. He's good. He's good to go. But so again, it's like from their perspective, I can kind of see how they would act. Now, and by the way, I think the best cop that Hawkins has ever had is the guy who's the head of the cops now. I don't remember the guy's name.
Oh, yeah. Turk from Marvel Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Because his sidekick guy has always been a little unhinged. Like that guy's got problems. That guy's no good. But he's better than Hopper. Yes. Yes. But the new guy's better than Hopper because Hopper kind of didn't care.
Yeah, Hopper was like, I guess I'll go over there. Like it's almost
exactly.
Like, all right, fine. I'll go over there. He's like smoking, putting it like he was a horrible cop.
He was horrible. He was not good.
So we have Jason. He's going crazy. But I did want to break down because I want to start talking about the kids some. ZSB Lou says Jonathan didn't get much to do this season, but his talk with Will hit me harder than 90% of television I've watched this year. Truly beautiful moment. I think they saved him. They were like, okay, Jonathan's not really doing much.
Yeah.
But that talk with Will, because Will's been, I guess I'll talk about Jonathan and Will. This season, Will has been floundering to a certain degree.
Yes.
And I mean, I think they're alluding to something, but I don't want to say what I think they're alluding to because I'm not sure for sure. But I think so, but I'm not sure. I'm sure you guys may have already put it in the chat. I think I know what they're alluding to with Will, but just like he's been floundering, he's been very weird this season.
Yeah.
And it just seems like he's been kind of just pulled along. With this whole story. And he hasn't been as proactive as maybe he was in season 3. And maybe it's due to the move, things like that, but you definitely see he's just kind of existing right now.
Yeah.
And that talk with Jonathan was great. It was no one, nobody. But I don't want to say it because I don't want to put that on them unless they say it, but that's what I'm thinking. There's at least in my mind, but we'll see. But Jay, how are you feeling about Will and Jonathan this season?
Okay, so I can't see the chat, but if the chat's talking about what I think they're talking about, I'm going to say this. I feel like that Will's scene with Mike in the van and then his scene with Jonathan in the store, if that's not Will in the 80s, taking it back.
In the 80s. This
in
is
the 80s.
84?
I think so.
Season?
I think it was 84,
I think the season
yeah.
was set in 84.
I think so. If that's not a kid in the 80s who doesn't look around and see a lot of support for gay people, but knows that he's gay, it is one of the best scenes that I have ever personally witnessed of a kid coming out to his friend and his brother realizing what's going on, having unrequited love for his friend, and then realizing that like I'm all alone in this, and I'm suggesting that my friend who I know loves L should love L, but at the same time, what does that do for me? So here's why I love it so much. One, no one can argue with that scene. So we see a lot of this going on online, right? We see a lot of this, oh, this is too woke, or this is too whatever, or this is too whatever. Yeah. Let me tell you this. When you do that scene and you pull it off the way that they pulled it off, you're sitting there going, I'm heartbroken for this kid. I am heartbroken for this kid. This kid is dealing with something that would be so hard to deal with. And you have to have empathy for him. And they don't shove it in your face. I love the fact that they never bring it up. They never bring it. And why? Why do I love that? Because this is the lived experience. You can't argue with this. This is what people go through.
Yeah. And especially at that time. Like,
especially at that time.
I know now it's very different because
it's different
there's
now.
way more visibility, there's way more support and stuff. But at 84, not really.
Those are all the feelings that a kid would feel. Those are all the feelings that his brother would feel. And all of that is worked out, I think, beautifully. It's done amazing. So
and they did it in a way without patting themselves on the back.
Correct.
For doing it. Like,
correct.
Because Hollywood loves to pat themselves on the back for doing something that doesn't have to do with like your mainline blonde white hero. You know what I'm saying? They're like, hey guys, did you see what we did? Did you see? It's right here. We stopped the show to do this.
Exactly.
Like, and also, you know what? We can use this as a moment to talk about regular relationships. All right. Do you see that one person likes one person and that one person likes another person? He did not spend his time, or she spent her time, trying to sabotage the relationship.
Yes.
Because they actually cared about that person, so they let them have their relationship in peace. They didn't try to sabotage it. Now, I'm sure I probably done talking about somebody that you might know. Hopefully not you, but someone that you might have known throughout your life. Look, let them have their relationship. Don't sabotage it. And so that was, and also this scene, the way Will is now, perfectly explains exactly how he was in season 3.
Yes.
And remember, he was like, guys, I want us to stay together. I want to, the whole thing of, I don't want anything to change. I want things to stay just how they are. You guys are moving on, and I want things to stay exact. So it really kind of, it's like, okay, because he's starting to change, and he's seeing other people start to change. And he needs something to stay the same, to kind of be like that kind of guiding star of like, okay, at least this is the same. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm dealing with, I'm changing. My perspective is changing. My outlook on life is changing. My look on myself is changing. Whatever, but I need something to stay the same. And of course, we got Max come in. If Mike can't keep the door open for nothing, Look, I'm gonna just say this: y'all are lucky. Y'all had some very forgiving parents. Because I'm gonna be honest, y'all would have been sitting in the front room every time you came over. And that's it. You want to sit in the front room. That's it.
Yeah, no D&D. You're playing Scrabble until we figure this out.
And you ain't going in the basement. You going where my eyes can see you. In the front room, wide open, everybody here.
but like so let's recap this really quick, right? You have a character that's openly out of the closet. Well, mostly open, right? Open, she's not totally open, but like Robin. You've got Robin as a character. We love Robin. We empathize with Robin. They're not pushing that in our faces. They didn't push that in our face in season 3 when she came out to Steve. You've got a character who's really lost in not knowing what his feelings are, but probably leaning towards being gay. That's Will. Not shoved in our face, totally supportive. We feel and empathize with those characters. We have, again, not super weird in our current time frame, but in the 80s, we have an interracial relationship between Lucas and Max. It is gorgeous. It is so well done. And it's never about pushing it in your face. It's never about, but the themes are there.
Or trying to get credit for like, look at us guys. We've got an interracial relationship. Look at us,
and
guys.
I don't know if you picked up on this. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you picked up on this either, but there's the one guy who leaves when Jason's all worked up in the town hall. There's the one guy who leaves that looks like if you transported him to 2020, he'd have a MAGA hat, right? And he's walking around the neighborhood with his dog, and he sees Lucas's sister doing the flashlight, and he chases her down. And then he calls the kids come chase her down. Jason goes up into the attic. Jason and Lucas are getting into it. It sure feels a lot like but they never push it. They never push it on us like this is race relations in the 1980s. They don't push it on us, but it sure feels like this is what was real.
Yeah, they kind of allow it to play out without calling it out.
Correct.
It's
perfect.
They kind of like allow it to play out, but it's like,
this
is race relations in a small town,
exactly.
in Indiana. Small town, Indiana. Yeah, there's a reason there's not a whole bunch of black families up there. There's a reason. And then you had the other black kid that was part of the Hellfire Club. That was in the band that they beat up. In the first part of season 4.
Yes.
Which, this is another situation where Lucas is in. I guess we could talk about Lucas some too, where you know how you're like with a group before they go mob mentality, and you're like, hey guys, are we going too far? And I've been that person before, and I've been shunned and flamed for just asking, hey guys, I think we're going a little too far.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, I'm this, I'm that, but you see it in Lucas's face where he's like, oh
yeah,
like, because they beat those kids up for nothing. They were just like out playing, playing, some song in a garage.
Yeah, exactly.
So he beat them up for nothing.
Yeah.
And like for Lucas to like sit there and watch that, I was just like, and then of course we play that out again where he's like, look, I should have never came knocking. I should have never wanted to be like you.
Yeah.
But we get to layer kind of like the average kid life at that time with this supernatural story, because there is, you have the group of friends, and one of them might be like, oh man, well, I want to be popular. You know what I'm saying? I want people to like me. I want, so, and Lucas went that route and then found out, all that glitters ain't gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you ended up being kind of like a token for them.
Yep.
And I would have liked for Lucas to have a little more fisticuffs. Like, Lucas, come on, man. Come on. Like, this is your time to shine. Now, I do like the fact that he took the shot on, like, hey, I got to do whatever I can to protect Max, so I got to go for it now. So that was good. Yeah. He dove at him, knocked the gun out of his hand. That was great. But
that was awesome.
I just need you to, guard up, get in close. Come on, Lucas, you can do it.
He did have the moment of where he came back too. Like after he got kind of beat up a little bit, then he came back. But let me say this. I think that Caleb, the actor who plays Lucas, we didn't see him. He didn't have to do a whole lot this whole season until that final scene. And holy cow, that final scene is amazing. And Sadie Sink has proven throughout season 4 that she's amazing, right? But you've been like, well, Caleb, I haven't really seen much from him and stuff like that. So is
he's
he going to do anything?
Followed around Jason.
Yeah,
he's kind of followed around Jason, then followed around the crew.
Because in season 1,
really. Oh, go ahead.
He had to do a lot in season 1, if you remember, because he was the skeptic, and so he had to keep pushing back. Like, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to. So he played that role great. But then over the course of time, he's not the same anymore. This season he's kind of like not in with the crew, so he's away from the crew. But man, Caleb, I think his last name is McLaughlin or
Yeah,
something
Caleb
like that.
McLaughlin, right? I think so.
I think that's what it is. But his scene where he's holding Max is so heartbreaking, and she plays it great, and he plays it great. It is so just a little bit of a golf clap for Caleb McLaughlin with that scene was amazing.
Yes,
give that kid an Emmy right now.
Because you see her, she's floating, and we all know what that means.
Yeah.
So she's floating, and the cool thing is that they don't know about L's team. L doesn't know about Mom and the crazy Russian guy, whatever his name is, the guy the skeptic dude that always comes in, that comes in and helps from time to time. So they don't know about them, and like they're so competent that they all figure out ways to combat this problem and just assume that everyone else will do the best that they can, which is something that's awesome. You don't, I mean, of course, some is bad parenting too, because like Mama never calls phone. But I mean, I guess there's no phone. I forgot, it's the 80s. There's no phone. I mean, she could have used the Russian phone.
That's right. Yeah. That's
but
true.
I mean, I don't.
and you bring up a good point, because
working in those great capacities.
And you bring up a great point, because I don't know, I can't remember a show that kept the three main groups apart. I kept thinking like, okay, they are going to make it back. Yeah. I kept thinking like, they're going to make it back. Oh, they're going to make it back. No, they all do something that matters from a completely different geographic location. That's wild. You don't see that very often.
Yeah. And they do it in a way where everyone's story is cool, and you never feel like you're missing out on a story or they shortchange someone. Because even when someone like Lucas or like Jonathan seems shortchanged, then they're like, here's your scene.
Yeah.
here's
exactly.
right here.
Exactly.
For your consideration the whole season.
Exactly. Oh, it's so
like,
good.
Man, Jonathan's just kind of like drove around and kind of like done nothing. Then it's like, boom, powerful talk. Where it's like, hey man, look, I know we haven't really talked. You're doing your thing, I'm doing mine. And then it's like, boom, this great moment between two brothers that are like in this crazy supernatural world, but then also dealing with just a personal everyday issue. Where it's like, no, I need you to know that I'm here for you. I know there's crazy stuff. I know I have bad hair every season, but still.
True.
And also Will, man, whoever cut Will's hair, they just man. They didn't have to do, like, they could have gave him a cool, like, I'm sure there's like a Supercuts back then that could have did something for him. It's like a weird bowl kind of. They weren't helping him. They weren't giving him the assistant CD.
Yeah. It was fine when he was 10, but when he's clearly 17, like you can let the kid do something different.
It's like you gotta upgrade him a little bit. But that was an awesome. Oh, Lady Lisa said Fantastic Sam's. Wow. It's we gotta take it back, because like you were born in 81, I was born in 82. So that means like we were at least young enough to see a lot of these references. Like even when L took those socks off to get in those socks with like the little cats and stuff on them. I was like, oh snap, I remember those socks. I don't know how they find this stuff. But anyway. Like, that moment between them two was powerful. And then Lucas just breaking down was like, wow. So that's them knowing like, okay, cool. We have them in a situation where they're kind of just following along, because we have like 12 characters. Like, okay, so there's Mike, Will, Dustin, Lucas. So that's the main four. That's and L, that's the main five. So we got 5 people. Then we got Erica in. We got Robin in. We got Steve the Harrington in.
That's right.
Then we got Eddie in. Then we got Mom,
Max,
Hopper, Max, and the dude, the Russian guy that's
Murray, the guy. Yeah.
So that's 13 already.
Yeah. On
top of like the doctor, like Papa and the doctor guy, and like these
Owens.
Yeah,
Jason's
surfer,
crew. Argyle. Yeah, Susie.
Argyle, they're Susie. They're like juggling and managing huge story and many different people's motivations and wants and needs.
Yeah,
and doing it in a way that's like about as balanced as you're gonna get.
Totally.
And
Eddie too.
Netflix,
We didn't. I don't think we said Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie. Sorry, no, I said Eddie.
Oh, you said yeah.
But Eddie, and even like the earlier high school stuff where Chrissy was there, like kind of like going through what she was going through.
Yeah.
Wow. So we kind of get, okay, well, there's going to be some kids that just kind of like don't get it, and it's like, oh no, they got their moment. Wow. Yeah. Okay. They had a strong, powerful moment, and then even through those powerful moments, you're able to have stuff like, here's your pie. And it's like, what? There's pineapple on this. And you're like, okay, great, cool. We get to have that argument.
Exactly.
I don't support pineapple on pizza, but I'm not going to turn it down. I've had it before. It's not bad. You know what I'm saying? It's not bad. But you're not going to see me like throwing it on a pie for you,
right?
The glorious pies, if you will. So those moments were powerful. And then we get to reinforce this kind of love triangle to a certain degree. Once again, with Steve the Hair Harrington, Jonathan, who's just being a slacker, basically. You know what? Jonathan is that kid that had never, ever messed with anything. And like got that first piece of weed, and like now all of a sudden like he does nothing. It's like, well, I could have called and I didn't call. Like, you weren't calling because you was high. All right, stop it.
Right.
Chilling with Argyle all the time.
That's right.
And you know Argyle is like stealing pizzas. And here's what I mean by stealing. Pizzas.
Guaranteed.
Here's what I mean. He was probably bringing pizzas and chilling out with Jonathan that no one paid for, right? That means they were stolen. I know you're going to be like, but he worked there, dog. Them joints were stolen, all right? Stolen pieces. But, I mean...
That's right.
I mean, hey, I used to deliver pizza and stole a couple people's pieces myself. So, yo, if I get off my shift, I'm going to take a pie home. It's just, it's part of my fee.
That's right.
I've been driving all around. All right, delivering pieces to the good people of Richmond, Virginia. All right, now I gotta. Hey, look, part of my fee is just taking one large home. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Me and the family can have some pizza. That's not hard.
What are you gonna do? Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't hurt anybody.
Argyle's the kind of guy too who like literally doesn't know anything, but probably could make a Michelin star rated pizza. He's one of those guys. You're like, oh man, he knows nothing, but he knows how to make pizza.
And he gives us our realization, which I was like, okay, this is the perfect character to have the like random realization. And of course, he noticed the tire tracks. So I'll give him that. He did notice the tire tracks, and he was like, these aren't regular tires. He was like, and then Mike is like, yeah, they're probably military. So
that's right.
Since I brought up Mike, I got this from Facebook, and I got to be honest. Mike has been trashed since the first season. All right, he has. Mike has been. Mike has been a bad friend in season 1 when it comes to Elle and stuff and balancing her. Mike has been a worser friend in season 2. He was a bad boyfriend in season 3, not only to Elle, but also he was kind of a little snot to Hopper. And I'm just saying that because it's an all-ages show.
That's right.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. When Hopper had that conversation in the car, had that been me, that conversation probably would have happened like a month or 2 earlier. I'd have been like, all right, look, I'm tired of this. All right, you ain't gonna be disrespecting my home. All right, so this, look, hey. But at the same time, they would have never been back there. They would have been in the front room. That's it.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I'm gonna go over to Mike's house. No, you're not, because they be in the basement all the time. So what you're gonna do is go come over here.
That's right.
Or if you're going over Mike's house, so am I. ain't gonna be none of that. All right.
Yeah, we know Mike's parents don't pay attention.
But I mean, when you got supernatural things going on, I mean,
Yeah.
nobody cares,
Yeah.
But Mike just, he can't tell the girl that he loves that he loves her. Come on, man. Now, I mean, I know we need the realization for the power of love to be like,
Yeah.
Come on, man. You never told her you loved her. Come on.
Yeah.
Mike,
What are you doing,
you
Mike?
don't deserve her.
No.
Right? You don't deserve her.
No.
So, but how do you feel about Mike, especially when, him, I guess, trying to walk in or coming to his own as the heart of the group?
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. I mean, Mike was look, he for season 1, he's always sort of been the leader of the group, but then over season 2 and season 3, that has kind of fallen into other people's hands. They've had to step up because he hasn't been doing anything. And so I think at all. So for him to be able to say, okay, why am I not able to be the heart of the group anymore? Because I'm not able to deal with my own feelings. Like for whatever reason, he's not able to admit who he is, right? So he's like retreated from the D&D. He doesn't do it as much. He's not pulling Will in. He's not being a good friend to Will. He doesn't even understand where Will's at. He doesn't understand where Elle's at. He's sort of lost the thing that was really truly him, which was to be the heart of the group and to bring everybody together. And because he was the one that defended Elle when Lucas, who would have been me in season 1, by the way, I'd have been like, who is this girl? We gotta call the cops. We gotta do whatever. So he was the one that said like, no, I'm going to empathize. And that's why I think it works when Will says you're the heart of the group. It's like, he's not now. He's got to step up because he used to be. Okay. And Will thinking with his heart and being empathetic is what allowed them to get to season 4 in the first place. But over season 2 and over season 3, he's not been doing that so well. And so Will brings him back in. So I think that was pretty artfully done from a storytelling perspective for them to kind of bring him back that way. And for him to be able to have a contribution. So the dominoes are all in place, right? If Jonathan doesn't support Will, then Will may not even approach Mike with the way that Mike needs to actually be. And if he doesn't do that for Mike, then Mike doesn't tell Elle he loves her, and the whole thing crumbles. So it's kind of a great domino effect of all the characters. Like you said, all the characters have something to do. They all have a moment, and the moment matters.
Yeah, and I want to talk about consequences this season too. Normally, and I know this is we all love our crew, even the new people, but Eddie paid the price for staying back, and he didn't really have to. Yeah. And he did anyway to make sure that the team, of course, at the house, at the mansion, would be able to kind of continue or finish their attack. Because, of course, they don't know what's happening there. So him being like, I'm not going to run anymore. Yeah. But he died for that. And then seeing Dusty, good old Dusty Bun, in that moment with Eddie where, being like, we're going to get you to a hospital, but it's like, there's no way. Well, not saying there's no way. There's physically a way, but you got a bad leg because you landed on your ankle or whatever. So now you're limping. You'd have to carry him back, then somehow get him high enough to go through on the I guess not the upside down, but the upside up. But the regular side. So get him back on the. You just know it's not going to happen. And that moment between them is just like, he had to pay for that. Even though he's not a bad person, the consequence of not running sometimes is this. And then we see Max. This was her plan. And it was actually a solid plan, except for the fact that once he got them, there, he was like, I can see everything. He's like, I can see your parents in Russia. I can see you here. I can see that girl over there. Now, of course, he ain't see Elle. Ha ha. Didn't see that, did you? But you know, it actually was a solid plan.
Yeah.
And I like that Max, who has no powers, Lucas, no powers, you know, Dustin, Steve, none of them have any powers. Oh, and shouts to Steve. I'll talk about him later, but shouts to Steve because he bosses up every season.
Oh,
every
dude.
season.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's showing them guns, doing what he gotta do. I see you, Steve. But without them having powers, they still come up with a plan to be like, okay, these are what we, you know, this is what we can't do, but this is what we can do. And if we do this, you're over there doing that. You're over there, and this is how we can communicate, blah, blah, blah. It's an awesome plan. Like, it actually wasn't. I was just like, yo, I'm watching it like, this might work. I'm like, this might actually work. Like, I mean, I know this guy is, and I want to talk about Vecna next, but I know this guy is super powerful, but this actually might work. Like, you guys kind of, you know what you're dealing with, and the only person that's really new to this is Eddie. So you're not scared because you've kind of been here before, so your nerves won't be that high. So you respect the stakes, but you won't cower from the stakes. And I love that plan. Now, of course, you know, things happen, and you know, we didn't know that he could see everything like he could, but that was awesome for that to play out how it did for them, because you have these characters in the supernatural where there are people with powers, but you don't play them as someone who's deficient at all.
Exactly.
Especially when we have The Boys, where we just had Huey talking about like, hey, you know, you have powers and I don't. And, you know, I feel like, you know, I can't help you, or I can't do anything for you. And, you know, that kind of thing, which that is understandable. Just, you can't let Butcher get to you like that. But there's a whole, like, Butcher is not the person to follow. But I love how capable they are in that moment. Now, I want you to give us a little bit of your reasoning from your video where you talk about Vecna being I believe you said the perfect example of the devil.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, break that down for us real quick. Because
I will.
I have my thoughts on Vecna.
Okay, perfect. And I want to also pick up on one thing really quickly and just say that Eddie also knows what he's going back to. So like, let's not forget that like Eddie is going back to 3 murder charges. He's to a city that could drag him out and just kill him because they're walking around looking for the dude. So like, part of it is him saying too, like, look, I can do something good, or I can run, and I can run right into more problems that I've never been able to face before in the first place. So I might as well do what I need to do here. Like I have something good to do here, and I have something like that will have a lasting effect on my friends. And I think that's pretty telling and pretty awesome that he does that. So I love Eddie for that. So Vecna. So now whether you're like, you know, person of faith, not person of faith, whether or not you believe there's a real devil or you don't believe there's a real devil, there's something in the human psyche that has such a difficult time not taking on guilt and shame, right? And one of the things that I love about Vecna's character is that part of his curse is that he's drawing up that guilt and shame in you, and he's trying to make you feel like you're not worthy of having any connection with, you know, if you're a spiritual person, then you should be guilted or shamed because your sin, the bad things you did or did not or didn't do in some of the cases of some of the characters, by not helping people, those things condemn you, and those things are what's causing you to feel guilt and causing you to feel shame. And guess what? You're not worthy of even living. You're a hypocrite. You broke your own rules. You don't deserve to keep living. And so for me, you know, I have some of this to go off of just based off there's a guy I follow called his name is Tim Keller, and he's a pastor, he's a writer, he's a philosopher. And he was giving an analogy, because one of the things I said in that video was, people assume that the devil is out there, and the devil exists because the devil's trying to like cause pain to people, right? Like that's the whole thing that the devil's going to do. But really, if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, the devil, whether it's an entity or a metaphor, is attempting for you to not to have as close of a relationship with the divine, with God, right? Put whatever name you want to those things. And what is Vecna trying to do? He's trying to isolate you. He's trying to get you away from your friends. He's trying to use your shame and guilt to say you're not worthy. And so why is it a perfect connection to the devil? Because the devil, whether or not you believe it's the devil's a metaphor, or whether or not you believe that the devil is real, the devil is not trying to like hurt people. The devil, what would be the devil's highest goal? Is to get you disconnected from God, to get you disconnected from your community, to make you feel like you're not worthy of living and being in connection with those people. So for me, Vecna is a kind of a perfect example of how the devil would act if the devil didn't want you to be a fully realized human that was in relationships, who was able to work through guilt and shame and reconcile and have those type of emotions. So yeah, for me, it's a really, really, really good example.
Awesome. Because like before I saw that video, when around maybe episode 3 or 4, I was like, the Duffer Brothers have made the perfect cross section of Freddy Krueger and Pennywise. Like they've made I was like, this character is perfect. I was like, and then I was like, it's like the way he works. Now, of course, if you take it to that level, yes, the devil is constantly trying to be like, oh no, that's good. No, come over here. Come on, don't worry about the good. Exactly. Come on over here.
Exactly.
But him saying, well, you you did that.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever going to love you because you did that. You know what?
Yep.
You shouldn't even love yourself. You're a horrible person. But you know what? I can fix that for you. I can take all that pain from you right now. And then, of course, he takes it from you by killing you. But, but continuing to drive that over and over into your head, it's haunting the way he like stalked his victims. And the very Freddy Krueger moment with Max is, because even I had to rewind it and be like, hold up, how do they do this? Because Max and Lucas are chilling upstairs. And like, they're kicking it all of a sudden, like, Lucas is, I'm like, hold up. I'm like, the way they did that is very, very Freddy Kruegerish.
Yes.
Like the way they handled that, where it's like, hold up. No, this isn't the real Lucas.
Yep.
And that was just awesome, the way they broke him down. And then also how we find out who Vecna is.
Yeah.
Is the way they built this villain. The Duffer Brothers. I don't know. Maybe they've been sitting on this story for years and finally Netflix gave them an opportunity. But to build him up, where you're like, there's this crazy dude. And even from the trailer, you're like, oh, so this is the big guy. He's the top guy. And then you get in there, you're like, no, he's not even the top guy. And you're like, yo, so he's not the mind flayer. Because on the trailer, I was like, oh, we finally meet the mind flayer. And it's like, nope, not even close. Like this is just like a mind flayer is like top, like I think Destin said a 5-star general.
Yeah.
So, we build him up through, you get the terrorizing view, then you see, oh, this guy, he went through this. Let's learn how he went through this. How did he beat him? And then you're like, oh no, Vecna didn't attack him. Oh no, Vecna's the kid. And then you're like, oh no, hold up. Vecna is the kid. And this guy that was with Elle, and Elle didn't kill these people, he did. So they literally upend all of your, I guess, knowledge from season 1, turn that around, and they kind of like clean her conscience in doing that. because she always thought she was a monster. So
Right.
they kind of clean her conscience and reset her from that. This guy, so the kid is number one, is Vecna. And it's just like, wow. And the way they laid it out with the conversation with Elle and not Robin, but I can't remember her name now. It's killing me. Mike's sister.
Oh, Nancy.
Nancy. So
Yeah.
the conversation with Nancy and Elle, and you're like, oh wow. Like once he starts talking and you're like, really? You're like, and then it's masterfully done. And then the voice modulation you do on him, A+. His gloating, A+. Like when he's like, oh, how's the old guy? I meant to see him, but I've been busy. You know, like that kind of, like, so he's got the gloating down, the voice modulation down, the prosthetics and special effects around him, perfect. The way he attacks people is like, Vecna might be the best villain this year on TV. And I know we had Vader. All right, it's a little bit different. It's a little, it's a little bit different. But man, Vecna is just a well put together villain.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. And also he even does something that like is such a villain trope, but it's like, but it works so well. Because if you think back at the basically I think it's the end of volume 1 of season 4. He's gonna kill 4 people in order to get all 4 gates to align, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has Nancy dead to rights. He has Nancy. Nancy cannot get out. Nancy cannot escape. She's not getting any kind of music. Like Nancy's done. And he goes, nope, you're not my 4th. All I have to do is kill you and I get all 4 gates open. He goes, but you're not the one because I control everything. This is how it's going down. I'm gonna wait on the one that I want for my 4th.
He's like, I want you to tell Elle everything you saw. Like that. That's how. Even when Elle semi beats him, he's like, you already lost.
Yeah.
Like, it's over.
Yeah.
Like he's like, yo, Mac's dead. You just don't know it yet. Her heart about to stop. I won, and she does bring her back, which is like, oh, hold up, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Are we come on, Neo. What we about to do now? but he's like, you can set me on fire, you can do this, you can burn the particles over there. I've already won. And I know that the military was talking about Hawkins and like the kids are talking about Hawkins. I'm like, dude, the whole world, like this, like
it's everywhere.
Like you have the little kind of demigorgons, but like the ones that stand up, like when the Russians were shooting him, he had to take at least like 100 rounds. It was just standing there like so. But
I know.
But what did your boy Hopper need? All right, he just needed the sword. All right, Hopper was like,
that's one of my favorite scenes.
Hopper was like, back to the Matrix. He was like Neo when he was like, no. No.
Yes.
so him and his kind of like, yes, it's very villain tropey, but he already won. That was it.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, our heroes did something that they shouldn't have did, but I get it because you're already in the upside down and you've gone through a lot. You almost got killed to death. When he jumped out the window, one of you stay up there to keep your eyes on him. The other 2 go downstairs to confirm the kill. Continue burning. He's not
double
done.
Tap.
Don't keep your eyes on him. No,
that's right.
Any villain, Pumpkinhead, Freddy Krueger, Jason, Pinhead from Hellraiser. You need to see them take their last breath. They need to go like, you need to see that, because if you don't see that, they're still alive.
Exactly.
But I get it. You almost got choked to death. You didn't even believe you get this far. You got this far. You're like, whew, man, we did it. Oh, it's so amazing. Whew. Oh, thank God. And then you look there and you're like, oh, he's not there anymore. So I get it, but the way they, similar to No One Nobody said, excuse me, not No One Nobody. Even though you've been holding it down in the chat, Big Pain says the Duffer Brothers are diabolical with their storytelling.
Yes.
Man, they got one more season of this. They nailed this last season. They are probably the most consistent out of any, especially when you're talking, if you want to break it down to like just supernatural horror.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about 4 seasons of like solid storytelling. Now, of course,
my gosh,
don't get me wrong. We could nitpick this for days. Of course we could. But the general enjoyment that I've gotten from this show, even rewatching it from the beginning, ever since the first trailer dropped.
Yep.
It's
so good, dude.
Any notes from me would be notes from someone who's outside of the story that knows what these characters are going through, which technically wouldn't count, and would also probably cut the seasons in half.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, oh, why didn't they call them and they call them and they call them? It's like they don't have cell phones. Oh, good point. Well, like, so those kind of things. But I guess I want to, before we get out of here, I do want to talk about good old Hopper, because we see him go through a lot.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I was thinking, oh yeah. And what's up, Adam Fink? What's up? Thought like, oh yeah, he'll probably be in the jail for like the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And then he'll be out. No, we see him really, he just goes through it in jail. And that's like his whole experience this whole season.
Yep.
And I mean, he had to break his ankles or whatever to get out the shackles, and he could still run. But I mean, that's just the power. That's the power of Hop.
That's right.
I told my wife that. I was just like, look, that's the power. All right.
Yeah.
It's the power he has.
Yeah.
Because all he did is like bite down on some cloth and was just like, I hit my leg. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the experience he went through, from sending that message to just hoping that, hoping that she'd come through, that, Joyce might say something to someone.
Yep.
You never know. All the way to, setting up the plan to burn the particles and all that. I mean, he really went through it. And saw the body. I saw you know what I'm saying? Straight it up.
That's right.
Jail will do that to you. Like, well, when you're out there in like 2-degree weather, building railroads or something, I mean, the nutrition regimen isn't the same.
Yeah.
So keto diet.
That's right.
but we get to see him be hopeful.
Yeah.
We get to see him lose hope, get it back again. It's awesome how well the actor and the character were portrayed. I mean, well, the actor did, and then how the character was portrayed this season.
Yes.
In a situation where if you told me on the onset, I'd be like, I don't know if this is gonna work. You're gonna separate everybody, and I'd be like, I don't think this would work. But where are you at on Hopper and his stint, behind bars, and then also with Joyce and trying to leave, then going back, and then all of that stuff.
So here's the thing, like, even if there's moments leading up to the finale where the characters are frustrated and there's not a lot of movement, and like, how many times does Yuri have to pretend he's helping them before you're like, oh my gosh, like, please don't like rely on Yuri anymore. But the thing is about every single one of those things, like, how often do how often do Mike and Will and Jonathan and Argyle have to go like somewhere else in a van to like get to the place they're supposed to be? And here's the thing. I listened to an NPR podcast, and they were talking to an opera singer, and the opera singer said something about that is true about storytelling as it is about music. The opera singer said, I used to, when I was a younger opera singer, I used to just go for the high note, and I used to kind of do whatever I needed to do to get to the high note. And
go through the motions.
Kind of go through the motions because I was just going to show off. I wanted to be able to show off. I wanted to hit the climax, and everyone goes, "Wow, that's amazing." And she goes, some of my contemporaries who were older than me said, "Hey, you've got to go back and you got to build. You got to have the building blocks to get there." And she goes, "What do you mean? Like, I don't understand." And she later studied the science of the brain. And this is true for storytelling, and it's true for music. And what you're doing is you're building up the dopamine so that when you hit the high note, it explodes, as opposed to just going like, oh, nice, right? Like you have a nuclear reaction. Yeah, exactly. And so basically, I think that whether it's all of, you could make an argument that like, wow, season 4 is really long. Like, let's think of how many minutes, but the payoff you get when Hopper picks up that sword, the payoff you get when Robin is chucking Molotov cocktails at Vecna and Nancy just starts shooting him with the shotgun, the payoff you get when Elle steps in and when Mike yells at Elle, like, I love you, and then Elle does what she does, that payoff, which is amazing. It's like the best art you could have. That payoff is true because of everything else, all of the other frustrations and all of the other buildups that we dealt with. And so I think it's one of those things where, there's moments where I'm like, wow, they're still sticking in here for a long time. Like, they're in prison and then he's back in prison. And he's like, then they get out of prison and they gotta go back to the prison. Like, how many times that happened? But it's all building up to your brain being like, oh, I thought we were going to get something and we didn't get it. I thought we were going to get something and we didn't get it. And then you got it. And when you got it, your brain was ready for it. So I thought it ended up being amazing. And by the way, those other moments, the moments all lead up to that. There's these little things like Yuri says, like he brags about his flamethrower pretty early on in volume 1. And you're like, oh, we're going to see that flamethrower. I know we're going to see that flamethrower. And sure enough, right? Like, so it's all of these things that they're telling you are going to happen that are awesome. And then when they pay off. So yeah, I love
even
all
Surfer
of it, man.
Boy
Like,
Pizza pays off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. It's just it's so well done.
He's part of the alumni of he came in, he was like, Surfer Boy Pizza. And then Jonathan was like,
that's right. Yeah, bro. That's awesome.
It's like every store has their own Argyle, and he was able to relate to him on the level of Argyle.
That's right.
He was like, I would, but I'm sorry, I gotta go somewhere. And he was like, would you like this? He was like, all right, just lock up.
Yeah.
He doesn't even care.
He didn't even care.
But the way they handled that, when you have Max, she's like talking and Elle's listening to Max, she's like, they're in danger, they're gonna do this plan, it's not gonna work. Papa's like, well, it doesn't matter because you need to be here. It's kind of like the Luke and Yoda thing. You need to be here. You got to keep on training, because if you don't leave, if you leave, you're not gonna finish all your training and it's gonna be bad. And he leaves anyway. So Elle's like, well, look, I can't get there. We got to get there tonight. And there's no flights. She's like, hold on. I can go in there. I can piggyback. And then you're like, oh, you can do that.
Yeah.
Then you're like,
Then
you're like, well, do her powers work the same in that? And as I'm watching, I'm like, well, I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So her jumping in there and then also providing more knowledge, about the backstory of Max, seeing her kind of like skating when she was really young and really little and stuff, and then seeing the other great memories that she had, and then of course the memory of the dance and Is that the dance from season
2, I think.
2?
Yeah. Season 2,
Yeah,
all
that's
the way
the
back.
dance from season 2.
Yep.
Yeah, so because that was the winter ball. And that was the end of that, of course, because we pan out and then of course we see the red above Hawkins.
Yes.
Man, we can't
Yes.
win. But,
That's right. That's right.
So we see the dance from season 2. We bring that back in, and Max is like, "Cool, I got this set." And Becky's like, "I know what you're trying to do."
Yeah.
I play with people's minds. What you think, you a dream warrior? Huh?
Yeah.
I seen that movie. but then I was like, okay, well, I can help in this way. And then Hop and Joyce, they're like, okay, well, we can help this way. And then them doing that from points without really coordinating with one another is awesome, because she's like, okay, well, hey, they had the particles there, right? And he was like, yeah, word. And he was like, well, remember when we hurt that, it hurt Will. It hurt Will. So they're connected. And then like, okay, well, if we go back there and kill that, maybe it'll help the kids and whatever they're doing. And they're like, I was the best thing, because we're not going to get back to Hawkins tonight. You get that. So you have Elle doing her thing, the parents, and it's awesome. It's almost like Morpheus said. 3 ships, 3 ships, 3 purposes or whatever. I call that Providence or whatever he said. Something. Now I know. Look, we've talked about Matrix a couple times. Look, this is what it is. But that was awesome to see them go back there and say, hey, look, whatever we have to do to save our kids, even though other parents just like let their kids run around willy-nilly. But I mean, I guess when I was young, when I was young, I wasn't around willy-nilly like at night, because those kids be riding their bikes at night.
Same. Same.
We rode bikes everywhere, but when the street lights came on, you were on this porch. That's it.
Yes.
Like that's it. You're not. They were just riding around. I mean, Will was heading back to his house in season 1. It's like pitch dark. It's not even what photographers call blue hour. It's not even like, like the sun's down, but there's still like light in the sky. No, it was just straight dark.
Yeah.
And then also when he got home, his mom wasn't there. Like nobody was. Oh no, Jonathan was supposed to be there, but he picked up an extra shift because he was trying to help Mama, because they need money.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's all coming back. But I enjoy the way they showed Hopper, the way they're willing to do any piece to help the major, the major story go along.
Yeah.
And just kind of trusting that, like, hey man, look, we've been down this road a couple times. The kids will figure out something. Let's just do this part that we can do. And and Hopper being like, yo, look, I'm not scared. He went in there, he let the dog chase him, and they flambéed those Demogorgons.
Yeah, they did.
So that was awesome. But I guess we could talk about Stranger Things forever, but I'll throw it to you. What's some points and maybe like a final thought of yours?
Well, okay, so this is one of the things that I've loved about Stranger Things, and I hope it's the same about season 5, and I think it will be. But in season 2, just for context, season 2 is probably my least favorite season, and it's still like a 9. It's over 9 out of 10, right? Like I love Stranger Things in general. The strongest parts of Stranger Things are not the characters dealing with the evil, not even the characters dealing with the trauma that the evil has caused. But the best parts of Stranger Things are the characters being introspective about the way that they've lived normal life and the failings they've had in normal life. So when you see the moments with Will and Mike in the car, and it's this moment it's not about the trauma that's been caused. It's about our relationship, dude, and your relationship with your girlfriend and my relationship with my brother. And so the reason why I think Stranger Things works so well is it's got this whole supernatural vibe to it. But at the end of the day, it's really about the relationships between the characters, why they care for each other, how they've hurt each other, how they're recovering from hurting each other. And that's when Stranger Things is at its best, honestly. So I just think that there's something that's just so artful about that. You know, they use horror as the best people who use horror use it. And it's a way to showcase humanity, right? It's a way to play on the fears of humanity and how humans actually behave. And so I love it, man. Like it'll make you feel every emotion. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to be excited. You're going to be like, this is the best moment I've ever seen. It's going to give you all those things in ways that other shows just aren't in today's world. And I think for all of those reasons, it's my favorite show of all time right now. And I'm hoping that season 5 will come through, and I have no doubt of it. Every single season is above a 9 out of 10 for me. With this latest season, I don't know how I could say it's not a 10 out of 10. Like, it was so entertaining. So yeah, I'm just hyped for it, and I'm looking forward to what happens next. I don't know when the next one's coming out, but probably gonna have to wait till 2023, and that's a bummer because I wanted it faster.
it's like, is season 5 ready now?
Yeah, exactly. I'll binge it tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'll hit some comments. Geeky Andre said the Hawkins heroes won, but they also lost that ending. How do you feel about the ending? Because you know, even Adam Fink comes in and says it had a very Empire Strikes Back ending.
Yeah. That's a good callback. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. I thought it was cool because everybody got a hero moment. We already talked about that. Everybody gets a hero moment. We have these like really great scenes, but in the end, they actually lose. And I think that because I know that they've said that season 5 is the last season, I think it's perfect. Because if they canceled it right now, it'd be like, you got to be kidding me! Like, you have to give us season 5.
We'd be speculating forever.
Oh, it'd be ridiculous.
After the season, there would be so many, fan theories, and if for some reason Netflix just went out of business right now, like Netflix, it like blew up and was gone. Netflix just stopped existing, and nobody wanted to buy Stranger Things and like put it on their service. Like, even though that never happened, but I mean, they'd be like, "Oh, Netflix is gone." Get Duffer Brothers on the line.
That's right.
Hey, Duffer Brothers, how's it going? But
exactly.
We would have videos upon videos, writings of us just speculating. Okay, like what happened next?
Yeah.
Did they do a time jump to like a week later? Did they get right into it right after that? Did they, because now with seeing the kind of like the floating pollen or evil snowflakes or whatever they are, all I know is you shouldn't be breathing that stuff in. No. And even Eddie was like, I breathed in a lot of that stuff. Because in season 3, I think when Hop goes down in the hole.
Yeah, and it spits in his face.
I was like, I don't think you should be breathing that stuff in.
No.
but we would be forever in this spiral of like, how would it have ended? Who would have done it? There would have been probably like fan videos, because I mean, it's the perfect way to start a season 5. Just the ending was incredible because we go 2 days later, everybody finally gets a chance to get back home meaning Hawkins. And once we get there, Will says, yo, now that I'm back in Hawkins, I can feel the connection.
Yep.
He's hurt, but he's not dead.
Yep.
And even seeing that plan work out with the gates connecting, that was huge.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that happening to a small town. And like, also once again, stakes. Like, people died in that. You saw like burning buildings and like houses exploding and stuff. It's like, I mean, when it first split, Jason just melts.
Oh, I know.
So
crazy.
Like, the people there had to like go. They had to go in like insane for a moment of just like, what's happening? How is this happening? Why is it happening? And then, of course, for the news, just be like, there was an earthquake. No, baby. That wasn't an earthquake. But we see Robin kind of connect with the girl a little bit. We don't know where they're going to play that, but hopefully there's a connection there. Well, you know what? I mean, it would be real life if, like, hey, sometimes it don't always work out where you'd be like, oh, yeah, finally, there's an opening. And they'd be like, I just want to be friends. Like, never mind. But hopefully that works out. But you see them go straight into service. They're like, okay, cool. Well, we got blankets, we got clothes, and everybody's helping, and there's like the triage center and stuff, and they're making sandwiches. And the second, I mean, we didn't see it, and maybe they'll start, season 5 from this moment. But when Dustin looked up in the sky, I'd have been like, hit the alarm. We gotta go. Everybody just go. Not even bomb shelters. We can't go underground. You just gotta go. Just get in your car and get out. Because even when they were coming back, you saw tons of people just like, nah, we done.
Oh, I'm out. Yeah.
All right, imagine this. We've had the missing kid.
Yep.
We've had the missing children, I think in season 2. Then you have the missing people in season 3. All this weird stuff. Now the people dying now, and someone was able to get a picture out, and we actually saw what happened to the bodies. So now people know what the bodies look like. And now this earthquake that's blown up half the town. Okay, we're done. I can't.
Yeah, no.
It's like even if I'm just like, I'm too deep in my mortgage, it's too bad. We just gotta move. Yeah. I can't stay here anymore.
You can't even move. Like, you can't even move Indiana adjacent. You've got to go 2-3 states over.
Yeah, I can't. So if I'm in Indiana, if I'm going east, I've got to at least. I can't even stop at like. I don't even really want to stop at New York. I've got to go to like Massachusetts. If I'm going west, cool. I'm not stopping until I get to like Colorado. I'm going south. It's got to be Texas. I don't want to be in Indiana like area.
No. No. I'm out.
That ending was. I think it was a great reminder to like, okay, we let you see all of them come together, and they hugged, and it was beautiful, and there were tears, and they're all back together. But guess what? They're all back together because this is the end.
Yeah.
And they've already started showing our consequences because, Max isn't dead, but it seems like she's blind permanently, and I mean, of course, her bones will come back together. So, but she'll be blind. That's it. Eddie's dead. And I don't think this show is above ending in a way where the bad guys lose.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I think, I think that's it. I don't think this show is above, letting the bad guys win or letting the upside down win. Because at the end of every season, at the end of every single season, you see that red come up. So
that's right.
It's like the upside down just exists. And it seems like there's really no way to stop it now.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad we put to rest the theory that Elle created the upside down, because that never made sense to me. I was like, I get why you're saying that, but like the upside down is too intense for Elle to have created it, right? Like it's too much. So I'm glad we put that to rest.
Too, and I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
but now we know that it's just a dimension out there that was somehow frozen in time when it was first opened, though.
Yes.
Because we see the Nancy, the diary that she has. So there might be some more stuff to uncover in season 5, but I'm ready for a season 5 that is honestly crazy.
Yeah.
Military, all that stuff. Like
all of it.
Because it's gonna take some real doing, because now that the gates are open.
Yeah.
I mean, we could open with season 5 with things crawling through. Like
yes. Yeah. Not to mention what the Russians were doing too. So you got So you've got the stuff happening in Hawkins. You've got stuff in Russia. You've got so Owens is probably not dead, even though Brenner's dead. Owens is probably not dead.
Owens probably not dead.
Yeah. But also the general from the military, he's not dead. So he's still around. He still has it out for L too, because he thinks L might have created the Upside Down and been causing all this problems.
Made all this stuff happen.
Yeah. So you still got some pretty big chess pieces on the board that are pissed off and need to have something happen.
Yeah, this is going to be an intense season 5. But
it's gonna be crazy.
Thank you guys for coming through. I'm so glad that we got a chance to talk about this. I cannot wait to watch it again.
Oh, me too.
Because Lisa has not seen it all, so I cannot wait to watch it again. Because
nice.
It's just good. It's probably top 5 shows for me. It might be, you know what? That might be something that I do is sit down and seriously try to figure out, maybe top 5, top 10 shows. Might do that.
Yeah.
That might be a live stream for later. We can put together
there you go.
a good list of top 10 shows. But yeah, awesome. I'm gonna throw it to Jay. Where can they find you?
You can find me on the Story Geeks YouTube channel, Story Geeks podcast, on your preferred podcast provider. Just search for the Story Geeks and you should find me. And then I also have a brand new audio book out. So if you like to listen to podcasts, if you like to carry audio with you, check out Death of a Bounty Hunter. It's a full cast audio book. There are 11 voice performers in 14 different roles, voicing 14 different characters. So check that out. Cool. deathofabountyhunter.com is where you can find out more about that.
All right, definitely. And it's pretty cool. I saw the trailer. I was like, oh yeah. It's cool. Yeah. And you can see the link down below, guys, or in the chat. So if you're in the chat now, the link's in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, the link is down below. So you can check it there. Of course, awesome. NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those places, TikTok, podcasts, all that jazz. The best thing you can do is share this video. The best thing you can do. Now, of course, if you want to support further, I got the Cash App below. I got the Patreon. Feel free. But marketers say that a share, an organic share, is worth $35. So right now, you can give me $35 without giving me $35.
Share it.
Do you know how easy that is? You can go boop, 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 $35. It's like I got it, and you didn't have to do anything. And feel free. You don't got to stop at 35. You give me 70. You want to share it to 2 people. You can put it on your HBO program. Help a brother out. But, with that said, we will be here tomorrow. The Bad Boy documentary with ARCKATRON. I am very interested to see how they portray Puff Daddy in this. And then we will be back with Strange New Worlds tomorrow at 2 p.m. PST. And we might play some video games later on, unless I'm super duper tired. Because I do have some extra work to do. Because I'm going to be in a panel at San Diego Comic-Con. I got more news coming, but I just got to do some stuff first. But guys, thank you for rolling through. From us to you, we love all y'all. Peace. And we out. And San Diego Comic-Con, Saturday, I'll be there. I'll have more news later. But until then, look, we just out, y'all. Bye. We go.
Thank you.
someone who can, like me.
yes, sir, they killed the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for I was legal to drink. I care what a broke nigga think.
Just like the pack of Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too short, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dallas rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grinding cause we all came from hunger.
You got to know that if you keep dwelling in the past, you will remain in the past. Can I get a fucking yeah?
Good day, gentlemen. This is a pre-recorded briefing made prior to your departure, in which, for security reasons of the highest importance, has been known on board during the mission. Now that you are in Jupiter's space, and the entire crew is revived, it can be told. 18 months ago, the first evidence of intelligent life off the Earth was discovered. It was buried 40 feet below the lunar surface, near the crater Titan. Except for a single, very powerful radio emission aimed at Jupiter, The 4-million-year-old black monolith has remained completely inert. Its origin and purpose still a total mystery.
You're listening to my daddy, All Gorilla MC.
said,